We're going to try applying the things we learned about linear perspective to shapes other than boxes. And our next step is to take these letters, A-R-T, art, and make them three-dimensional. If you're in class, you probably have the photocopied sheet from me. If you are not in class, you'll have to stop here and draw the letters ART with straight lines on your own paper. Trying to set up similarly so that the word is a little bit towards the left corner and that your vanishing point is up high and towards the right corner. Having them laid out in a similar space relationship is helpful when you're a beginner. So with this orientation, having our point of view be up high and to the right, we're going to expect to see the tops of every letter and the right-hand sides of every letter, the side that's turned towards the vanishing point. And usually the best course of action is to start with the shape that's closest to your point. So we're going to begin with letter T. So since the T shape itself is already given to you, the first step we want to do is to line up the ruler with every corner and draw the perspective lines that go back in space to your vanishing point. So you have the two corners on the right-hand end of the bar of the T, and then you have the top corner on the left. Thinking like we talked about with the boxes, if I put the ruler here and line it up with my point, I would draw through my shape. So that's a no-go. I cannot do that corner. Same with corners like this one and this one. But I do want to get this bottom right-hand corner. And keep in mind, as we're trying to make things look like solid objects, if your corner would bump into the top of the T, then that would be the end of that line. Mine just misses it. So if you have the photocopy, yours should also just miss the end there. I prefer to finish one letter before I go on to the next. So we're going to do the cutoff lines next. And I want to think about the top of the T is horizontal. I'm going to keep my ruler horizontal and slide it back. Don't make it super skinny because then you go through all this work and you can barely see it. On the other hand, don't make it super, super thick because sometimes when you get so far away, it's more confusing about where those cutoffs should be. But somewhere in the mid-range, kind of thick, but not super thick. I'm going to do just the top section of the T with a horizontal line. So not everything, just the top. And then the next section you can see changes direction. We're going to turn the corner and drop down vertically. So same way from the corner I just made, I want to turn my ruler, try to make it parallel with the edge of my paper so that it's truly vertical, and draw from the corner I made down to the next line and then stop. Sometimes these things do not look right to us until we get farther along. I might try to zoom in a little bit. Okay. So over and down, and I have over and down here. Now, the sidebar of the T also needs its cutoff line. That part, the side is not even with this part. So that's what we're trying to show. The T has a hidden side here. If I can see the top of it, I can't see the bottom of it at the same time. So there is some logic about which parts you need and how you decide where they should be. So what I want to do is look at if it's this thick on the side of the top bar it should be about the same thickness on the side of the bottom bar. So somewhere right about in this neighborhood is where the end of the vertical tall bar of the T should be. So I'm going to get my ruler vertical, and I want to slide it back till I think it looks right. I don't really want it to line up direct with that corner. I'm going to go just a little bit beyond the corner and put my end line vertically right there. And then you're never done until you erase the extra lines. So the part that extends beyond gets erased. Same way on all the top parts. What extends beyond gets erased. All right. So every letter is going to follow a similar kind of pattern. I'm going to zoom back out now so you can see all the parts of the R at the same time. I'm going to keep one end of my ruler on my vanishing point and start lining it up with the corners of the R. I want to draw that perspective line until I bump into something and then stop. So I do not draw through the T. I don't continue on the other side of the T. Just when I bump into something, boom, that's the end of the line. And this corner now is clear. I can go way back. The other top corner also is clear, and I can go back until I know I'm beyond the thickness of my T here. The R, with its cutout openings, is going to have some other interesting parts to think about. If we check out with our ruler what corners it's possible to connect, not this one because it would draw through the letter, not this one because it would draw through the letter, but this one that's on the bottom corner farthest from the vanishing point. I want to line that up and draw across the opening in the R and then stop that perspective line. So an inner corner that's inside that opening. Same way down here with the bottom corner of the R. I'm going to line up my ruler there, draw across the open space, and then stop when I bump into something. So that is the end of that line. Now, when I go into putting in the cutoff parts of the R, where does the R end? Then I want to make the thickness of this one look like it matches the thickness of this one. I want to have unity in that respect, that they all seem the same size. So I know the top of the R is horizontal, same way the top of the T was horizontal. I want to put my ruler so it's level with the top of the T. And I want to cut off the top of the R in the same spot. Then in a similar way, I'm following the shape and keeping parallel. I went horizontal across the top. Now I want to turn the corner and come vertical down the side. So right from the corner I just made, I want to turn my ruler vertical and drop down from that corner until I bump into something and then stop. This is where I should zoom in again. Now, when I try to figure out where the end of this slanted leg of the R should be, I have to consider where is my back corner. This corner and this corner, they're even with each other, aren't they? And so I want to look like I'm on the same level as back here. If I took my ruler and I tried to drop down, turns out that the bottom of the slanted leg of the R is actually overlapped by the T and it's hidden. So I don't even need to draw any cutoffs there. The same thing happens in these inside areas. Because I made this pretty thick, I wouldn't be able to see the end of this opening or the end of this side here. So there's no more lines to draw on the R, and I can go ahead and erase these 2 extra lines. You thought the R was going to be super hard, and it actually wasn't hard at all. So the A, of course, has a different kind of shape with its slanted side, but the rules of perspective stay the same. We want to begin by looking at each corner, testing it out. Even though the A and the R are close together, I need that perspective line across the little opening lined up with my vanishing point, so I've got the right angle. The top corner, of course, is the easiest, lined up with my vanishing point, so I've got the right angle, going it so I know I'm beyond the thickness of the R with that line. I don't have to draw it 100% of the way. Same as here, I want to check the bottom corner of the opening in the A, draw across the open space, and then stop. And same way down here, I want to match up that corner with my vanishing point. You can see how I hold my pencil there and bring the ruler up to it. Sometimes that helps you to get things lined up with the corner more precisely. Drawing across that open space and stop when I bump into the other side of the A. And that'll be all the lines that I need. Now when it comes to trying to do the cutoffs and making the A look like it's matching in thickness to the other letters, of course, the top of the A is not horizontal at all. So if I put my ruler even with the tops of the R and the T, and I just slide over here and give myself like a little mark, that is where the end of the A should be. But I need to get that angle. I want to be parallel with the front. So I'm going to lay my ruler there for the angle and try to slide it back evenly and keep parallel with the front of the A. And when I get to my mark, I want that same slanted line until I bump into the R and then stop. And then I erase this one extra line that I've got, and easy peasy, the A is done. Now, because of the limits that we have on our time to work together for the remainder of the semester, I would like you to finish off this drawing with color and decoration any way that you want. Your only restriction is that you need to make sure that all of the different parts of the 3D letters stay clear and show up and have contrast. So if I make the front of the R blue with marker, then I cannot make the sides of the R blue with marker because they'll all just blend together and all the edges I worked so hard on will disappear. You might make sort of a pattern out of maybe all of the flat horizontal sides would be one color. Maybe all of the vertical sides would be a second color. Maybe all of the slanted sides would be a third color. Or if you want to try and apply what you know about shading, as we shaded the boxes in the first drawing, you are welcome to shade the sides. And then as time allows during this week, you should jazz up the background space as well. How will you decide to make it interesting on your own? So that is your final assignment. Good luck. I look forward to seeing your work get submitted.